Well, other than, performance enhancing drugs, but if they're all taking it, it's a level playing field. And if you say, well, some people don't want to ruin their bodies, well, then they don't want it bad enough, then do they? I am a grown-ass man. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the MURCA Guns and Freedom podcast. I don't know why I call it a podcast still, because I don't post it anywhere. I'd like to, but I don't know how. And some people have tried to help me, but I think I'm kind of a lost cause. Plus, it's work, and I'm very lazy. But that aside, this is the MURCA Guns and Freedom podcast. And as always, it's just an open chat where you can ask me whatever you want to ask me, suggest whatever topic you want to suggest. And remember, I'm not the only one that can answer questions. So feel free to ask, because if I don't know the answer, there's 130 people in here. One of them might know the answer. So feel free to ask whatever you want. Doesn't have to be gun related. We also talk about wrestling, cars, comics, cryptids, lots of things. So feel free to ask whatever you want. Any manly man stuff you want to know about, ask away. You can also challenge me on my opinions if you think I've been wrong about something, I've said something factually incorrect, or you just disagree with my philosophy. Feel free to come in, spank the yank, and let me know how you feel. You will be respected for it. Even if you're not very bright, we'd still respect you more for having the guts to speak up. But feel free to do that if you want. I always like to start the chat by reading orders we've received in the last 24 hours. And that would be none. We're not doing good on sales right now. If you want some product like the fuck your red flag laws, Eeyore here with his little shotgun saying fuck your red flag laws. Well, this is not my product. This is a hat someone sent me. But I got other products over there, lots of them. If you want to go over there and see, go over to the Yankee Mark. Well, I got it covered up, don't I? Let me uncover it here. Where's it at? There it is. All right. You can go over to TYMPpistolproject.com right here, and you can become a Patreon member, Subscribe Star member. You can sign up to get patches. Got some patches about ready to go out here for some people catching up. There's going to be new patches coming soon, so watch out for those. I'll do a video once they come in. And if you want to become a recipient of TYMP, you can sign up over there to be a recipient, or you can use that link there, like I said, to go buy some merch like the fuck your red flag laws from Eeyore, because Eeyore would be the first person targeted for a red flag law, because they'd be like, he's depressed, we got to take his guns away. He ain't gonna hurt himself. Leave him the fuck alone. Hate when people fuck with Eeyore. But as I was saying, no sales today. So if you want to go over to TYMPpistolproject.com, you can either be a channel member, supporter, or buy merchandise. I do have one new patron to read today. Sean Bain became a friend of the channel. That's the first new patron we've had in a while. We've had a couple up their membership in the last 2 weeks, but we've had a lot more people leave than anything else. And with that being said, we can get to the questions. I got some questions that came in over here I want to address. First off, Dale Rickety weighed in late with a selection for today's video. He said a Mauser C96 then. Doesn't count because he got in late. And Traveler, who I don't recognize, said a Calibri, which I think he's having a stroke. I don't even know what he's talking about. And then we got Felice Shanice, who asked a question, which is an interesting question, and I actually don't know the answer to this. She said, are the internals of the Colt Grizzly the same as the Colt Python? Well, they're basically the same gun. The biggest difference is the engraving and an unfluted cylinder. So I'm assuming that they probably are, because why change it'd be more expensive to make a second gun with different internals than it would be just to put one together with different engraving and a different cylinder. So I'm assuming they're the same. Just aesthetically a little different. I could be wrong. If anyone knows I'm wrong, please let us know. Or come to one of our group chats we're doing this week and educate us. So, but I think they're very much the same gun. That's why I haven't been, leaping to get one. I have Anacondas. That's Kodiak. I have, but I think the Kodiak might be better than Anaconda. But because it's more modern one. I think they use the same mechanism. So I haven't been leaping to get them, but I do want both an Anaconda, both a Kodiak and a Grizzly. I just wish they'd have engraved the bear paws around the cylinder. Excuse me. That would have made them a lot more desirable, but still pretty nice. But I think the internals are pretty much the same. Where can I get, this is Rodimus Abraxas, where can I get a style revolver? I don't know what style is. So that's one on me. So you'd have to tell me what they are before I would ever know where they are. Because I don't know what they are, who they are. Where comes after. You know, it's what, who, where. You got to know what or who before you can know where, in my opinion. So I don't know, I guess is the answer. Does anybody else in here know? Speak directly to Rodimus Abraxas in the chat. You know, put at Rodimus Abraxas, and it should leave a little red box around your comment so that he can see it. Nominal Snowman used his WAP chat. He's been in my WAP for 54 months. Just imagine how wrinkly he is now. Oh, he must stink. Long time no see. Only hope left for SCOTUS to save it. Any hope left for SCOTUS to save us. I do still have hope. I also have, but I also have hope that Donald Trump will get off his ass and do some actual help support some legislation to give us back some of our rights. So just goes to show how easy I am to fool. But I think it's better than the alternative. Having a little hope is better than the alternative. So I do have hope that the Supreme Court would eventually be forced to do the right thing instead of just, say it and then never enforce it, because they're not enforcing Bruen. They're not enforcing Heller. Not in any sweeping, meaningful ways. And they could. They could just start ruling on a lot of these laws saying these are unconstitutional. This invalidates Bruen. This decision invalidated Bruen. Any law that, was judged under the system of public safety or under the criteria of public safety is null and void. They could be doing stuff like that, but they're not. So I ain't the most optimistic, but I'm still some optimistic. He said, mine's as dead as a coffin nail. We'll see. And how's that doing for you? Does that make you feel better? Just because you think you're smarter than the rest of us? Because it probably ain't going to happen, but I'd like to maintain. I'd rather be happy and stupid. That's how I feel about that. Happy and stupid. Let's get over here to the live chat, see if we got anything, the super chat, see if we got anything coming in. We got Dale Rickety weighed in first. He's always early because, he probably does it while he's eating dinner at about 3. I think that's when he probably eats dinner. I'd say about 3 o'clock. I think that's when he does his super chat, when he's eating his dinner or, his mush. They probably mush most of it up, but still. His blended steak and mushed potatoes. All hail Phil. He's the leader of the Yankers. He is. He's everybody's. He's our defender. I don't like to call him our savior I guess he saves us every day from cosmic threats. I don't like calling him our God, though, because he's not our God. He didn't create us in his image or anything like that. He didn't create us, period. The universe just came about, and luckily he was here. I think he evolved along with existence to protect us. But he is our protector, our cosmic protector. He protects the celestial watermelon, which is all of this existence. Everything we know is in that one watermelon. And he protects that with his life. Against what? I'm not real sure. But I'm sure there must be some things, because have you seen how armed that motherfucker is? He's got 8 arms, of course, because he's an octopus. But he's also got like 2 revolvers and a semi-auto and an AR and all this other stuff. I'm sure he's got other stuff shoved up his, what do they call that? That hole at the bottom, their butthole, kind of. Sure, he's got other stuff in there. I think he can probably pull anything he needs out of there. Jeffrey Vaughn paid his $2 tithe to Phil and said, what do you think of black powder? Did you use it in your cowboy shooting days? I did not. I had cartridge guns. There are some people that do shoot cowboy action with black powder. There's usually a special division for that. I was not in that division. I do not own a black powder gun. I want a black powder gun. I can't, every time I go to think maybe I'm going to buy one, because they're not all that expensive, I never can decide, do I want something real old school, like a muzzle loader? I shouldn't do that on camera. Like a muzzle loader will get me canceled on YouTube, I think. I don't need to give me any more ammunition. Something like a musket or like a cowboy, like a blunderbuss or something. Or should I get something, that's, multiple cap and ball kind of a thing? Which do I think I would enjoy more? And to be honest, I don't know. I used to have a little cannon that was a muzzle loader. It sat on our coffee table when I was a kid for years. And I ended up with it when my grandparents died. It's just a little cannon sat on the coffee table. I played with it all the time as a kid, never knowing you could actually load it and set it off with a little spark. But yeah, I don't know where that's at. Somewhere. But that was a little like a muzzle loader, except you couldn't hold it. You sat it on the ground. They had these little spikes that you spiked it into the ground with, and then you just boom. It's just little. I think the ball was about that big. Not much bigger than a pellet. Where were we? Spud Gun said it's good to see your xenophobia is alive and kicking. Yes. Well, no, it's not xenophobia. I'm not afraid of foreigners. It's just they're weird and they make me feel weird. They make me feel funny. Make me uncomfortable. I don't understand their weird stuff. They eat weird things. They say stuff that I don't understand what the fuck they're saying. When I first started watching Ab Fab, it took me like the first 7 or 8 episodes just to even be able to understand what they were saying. So yeah, they just make me uncomfortable. I'm not scared of them. Well, unless they're big. If they're big and scary, well, I might be scared of some, but not all of them. They don't all scare me. So I don't think it's across the board thing. Like most of the white ones that live in like those countries that are mostly mountains, they scare the fuck out of me. Like the Swedes and the Nords or whatever they call themselves now. Those people, those are fucking European hillbillies, and they scare the shit out of me because I know what hillbillies are like because I am a hillbilly. So I can imagine their hillbilly culture goes back even further. So I figure they're even worse. So any of those mountainous northern countries that's full of like white blonde-haired people, well, those are European hillbillies, and they scared shit out of me. Where are those countries? Norway, Sweden, those kinds of places where they like worship Odin and Thor and stuff. Where was I on questions over here? I think I got Jeffrey Vaughn's. Emmanuel Fernandez chimed in and says, Sig P229 or you're not a man. I have a P229, so I am a man. So stop saying I'm not a man. I'm a man. I have an XY chromosome. I'm male. Let's just say that. I am a male. Man, I'm not really sure how to define that. A little more difficult these days. But male's never been in question. If you've got a Y chromosome, you're male. If you have 2 X chromosomes, you're female. That should be the only test they have to do to see if you get to compete in sports. Well, other than, performance enhancing drugs. But if they're all taking it, it's a level playing field. And if you say, well, some people don't want to ruin their bodies, well, then they don't want it bad enough. Then do they? So I think the only thing they should be testing for in the sports is whether you got an XY chromosome or an XX chromosome. Now, we will still have some people will have to make determinations on because there's people with like XY. And then what do you do with that? Do you just give them a choice, or do you just put them in prison? Maybe they're XYY. Though you put those in prison. I don't know. Maybe they just get disqualified on a technicality. I don't know. It's like you got the 2 X chromosomes, but you also got a Y. So you're disqualified on technicality. Take it up with the judges. And to be honest, I don't think the government should have any say in whether men or women get to compete against each other in sports. That should be up to the organizations that run the sports leagues. Like if someone has to have a Y chromosome to be in the NFL, that should be up to the NFL. If someone has to have 2 X chromosomes to participate in the WNBA, well, that should be up to the WNBA. Shouldn't be up to politicians. Where are we? I've lost my place. John Blick said, did you get to review U.S. Rep. Williams from Texas 25 Second Amendment resolution that came out today that had 13 other House supporters? I have not seen anything that came out today because, you know, I'm mourning for the Pope. So, you know, being a good Catholic, I have to mourn the Pope for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long it is. I think it's like 2 days. But the good thing is you're allowed to eat whatever you want during that time. So I'm mourning the Pope for a couple of days. Today was my cheat day anyway, and I want some peeps. So get off my back. I want some peeps in honor of the dead Pope. He is still dead, right? I hope they don't wheel him back out in 3 days and say, oh, look, a miracle, and have him on like strings. It'd be like Nancy Pelosi. See, she's still kicking. Does Phil have the power to fix David Hogg? Well, no, Phil can't do everything. There's some things even Phil can't do. Like he can't make a rock so heavy he can't lift it. That would be impossible. And I don't think anybody can fix David Hogg. It's mostly the shape of his head. I think that's the problem. Like a lot of people say stupid shit, and I'm just like, I just dismiss them and be like, yeah, they're just stupid or ignorant or whatever. When David Hogg talks, it infuriates me. And I think it's the shape of his head. It is shaped like a light bulb, and it makes me angry. When I see someone with flapping their big old light bulb head, it bothers me more than it does. Like he could say the same things that Gaffy Gifford says. And I'm like, whenever I see Gaffy Gifford say it, I'm like, oh, you know, she was shot in the brain. So, you know, I don't expect her to make a lot of sense. When David Hogg says it, I immediately want to strangle him, or at least punch him in the throat. Just a good choke to the throat. So I don't think Phil can fix him. Rodimus Abraxas says that steel revolver is on the tag pick for the one must-have revolver video. Oh, it's not real, I don't think. I don't think that's real. I just Googled unique revolver and put it on there. I don't think it's real. I just did that to see if it pisses people off. Where was I? I read Emmanuel Fernandez's, I do believe. Yes, I read Emmanuel. He was challenging my manhood. Kenneth Donaldson chimed in here and said, I want to enter the Pico gun giveaway. Well, you just got 3 entries into the Pico gun giveaway. So you did what you wanted. See, nobody can stop you from doing what you want to do. That's the spirit. Pinch Me Vampire was once Pico entries, and he got some. He actually got 7 Pico entries. And 5 entries into the silver bullet drawing. Johnny Mandrick chimed in and said, did you reveal the new gun? You know, I haven't yet because other things keep coming up, like that little punk on TikTok pissed me off, and I had to do a video response to him. You know, I got nothing against that kid. I mean, he's just stupid or ignorant. I don't know. I don't know him. He was being a little arrogant about his ignorance. But aren't they always kind of arrogant about their ignorance on both sides of the spectrum? It's the most ignorant ones that are the most sure they know what they're talking about. The dumber they are, the less they know how dumb they are. You know what I mean? It's very difficult for extremely stupid people to know they're stupid. They aren't smart enough to figure it out. So they think they're right. And he was one of those, so I had to respond to him, and that delayed my reveal. And there's also another video I want to do before I do the reveal. But I don't know. Hopefully it'll be soon. I've already done a video of changing the gun somewhat that I'll have to do after I do the reveal. So it's just sitting there waiting to be edited. I've already done modifications to the gun. And I already have the list of people who guessed right, and I will draw a winner from that list. I'm not taking any new ones from now on. But yeah, we've got it. Was that a purchase? That looks like a purchase. Let's see. Did we sell some orders? Sell some merchandise? Yes, we sold some merchandise. Toby Person. not to be mistaken with Joe Pearson. Toby Person, what'd he get? Car magnet. He got some magnets. We got him some magnets. Oh, he got a Knights of Pew car magnet. Oh, and he got a Phil car magnet. So I got to make sure he's on the Church of Phil list. I think he might be, but let's check and see. I think Toby Person's already on there, isn't he? Me and the Philistines. Let's see. No, maybe not. Toby. No, wait. Yes, he's already on there. I knew he was on there. I was pretty sure he's already on there. So we don't got a new person on the Church of Phil scroll at the end. We just got reaffirmed that he's reaffirmed his devotion to Phil. All right, where was I at? But yes, I have, or no, I should say, I have not revealed the new gun yet. I did kind of. I showed y'all in the chat yesterday. Remember when we weren't live, when we weren't filming, I should say. I showed y'all, but that's why I'm not taking any more guesses. Paul Bidenbach. Well, gee, how many entries would that get him? Like 14, 15, 16 entries. Coming out strong for the Pico. Try to stop me, bitches. Thought for sure you would pick 1911, especially when you had that phase for Dan Wesson and Nighthawk. Well, I didn't have a phase really for Nighthawk. I have a couple, actually 3. But Dan Wesson, I did. At one point, I owned every Dan Wesson they made of the 1911, their first run series. Like the C-Bobs and stuff like that. And you know why I sold them all? Because the name was laser etched on the side, not roll marked. But now they're roll marked. So if I'd had them all now, I'd kept them. I would get rid of guns for petty reasons. I can come up with petty reasons to get rid of a gun. If it's not something I carry, I can be like, I don't like the shape of the holes in the trigger, so I'm going to sell it and get something different. But it's just a way to cope and sell stuff you already have to be able to afford new stuff. Who was that? That was Paul Bidenbach, I do believe. Where is it? Why is it not telling me? Why is it not saying his name? There it is. Yes, it's Paul Bidenbach. Then we got Stephen Elbert. Stephen Elbert chimed in. Phil has decided that the Yankee Marshal may become the superhero of his choice, Marvel hero or DC. Who are you going to be? Oh, I mean, does this mean I got to become the hero or I have the same abilities as that hero? Because, it matters. Because, if I could just have the same abilities, and I'm going to count Galactus as a hero. He saved the universe many times. So if I just could have the abilities, I would love to have the powers of either the Phoenix Force or Galactus. I always thought Galactus was a cool character. He's one of my favorites, period. So I'd love to have his powers. Now, I wouldn't want to take his place and have the same negative aspects of his powers. But now, like if I was on a smaller scale, like you have all these cosmic powers, but every so often you have to absorb the life force of a person, where you're more like a cosmically powered vampire. That I'd be fine with. I'd just kill bad people or people that piss me off. Mostly just really bad people like murderers and rapists and child traffickers and pedophiles and people who try to go through the 10 items or less lane with more than 10 items. People like that. That's how I would sustain myself. But if I got to take their place, if I got to actually be them, be that hero, that's a little more difficult. Oof. I almost would say the Flash, but I'm going to say the Spectre because he's extremely powerful and he gets to go around wreaking vengeance on bad people. So how much better than that could it be? If I actually had to do his job, I'd want to be the Spectre. If I just you get the powers, I'd want to be Galactus without the negative aspects of it. So that was a hard question. A lot of people say Superman. I'm like, why would you want to limit yourself to planets with yellow suns? He's too easy. It's like every time he meets a bad guy who really wants to kill him, and I'll be like, well, that person can teleport matter. teleport him to the heart of a red sun or into orbit around a red sun. He'll be dead in a second. So I don't know why people don't do that. It's like people who fight the Hulk. They're like, there's no way you can beat the Hulk. Well, we got people who can teleport interplanetarily or interdimensionally or other galaxies. Well, just first time you fight him and first time he jumps at you, he can't alter himself and just make a portal and teleport him, like 300 million light years away. And then he's your great to the 10th power grandson's problem. Unless he somehow finds someone that'll teleport him back. It's going to take a long time to find that long range of a teleporter. So, or unless he finds a specific wormhole, which how's he going to do that? He ain't got no spaceship or nothing. So you're not going to see him for decades, probably at least. And then if he comes back, you send him back again. So I just never understood that. Where was I at? Did I get Stephen Elbert's question? Was he the one that just asked about the superheroes? Yes, that was the one about the superhero. Then we got Michael Santorsola, or Santa Cola, I like to call him. What 9mm hammer fired steel frame gun would you recommend? Ooh, steel framed? Well, see, that limits it a lot there because there's not a lot of steel framed guns still made. 9mm hammer fired steel frame. Well, you're probably going to be looking at like a CZ. They still make some high power, something like that. Which the CZs are kind of similar to the high powers, but they're double action. It looks wise, aesthetically wise, they're kind of similar. So yeah, they're probably going to say a CZ, like a CZ Shadow 2. If you can afford a CZ Shadow 2, that would be the one I'd say is probably one of the best ones you can get. Hammer fired, steel, amazing gun, good looking gun. So I think there's only one thing. The only thing that keeps CZ out of the top tier of good looking usable guns is that they use those cheap roll pins that you can see through. I don't like that. Set up a system inside where you've got a notch, something to catch the notch, and you can use actual pins instead of the roll pins. I don't like the roll pins. I don't like them. You can see through them and they look cheap. But otherwise, Nominal Snowman said, see, email, please. Please. Why couldn't he do that through PayPal? So didn't give that money to YouTube. I swear he can't read. He can't read. Went to a doc a few weeks ago. Only provider was in Washington. Had to renew psychiatric drugs. Doc recorded I had schizophrenia and major depression or possibly schizoaffective. Should I be worried about Washington red flag laws? Not sure how the laws are with mandatory reporting and all. Not in Washington. Residents at the moment have been in a month. Not sure if cops showed up already or not. Haven't been in a month. Not sure if cops showed up already in a month. Well, no. Being schizophrenic is not disqualifying to own or keep a gun. That's not disqualifying at all. They would have to, someone like a police officer, a neighbor, someone else would have to actually go and file a complaint saying that they think you're a danger, which that's all they got to do. But unless you've given someone reason to do that, well, they don't just give everybody your information for every reason. And there's nothing where they have to report that you have a mental illness to be red flagged. Because there is no evidence that having a mental illness makes you dangerous. Most people that have mental illness aren't dangerous. Most people who are dangerous don't have mental illness. They're just jerks. So chances of that being a problem, well, no, you don't have a problem with a diagnosis, and plus you're treated. Usually they're more worried about untreated than they are treated. So a treated condition is not really something they report or worry about. It's if you are involuntary, even if you committed yourself, like if you went in and said, hey, I don't feel like I'm stable, I want to be checked out, and then I want to be medicated, that's not reason for disqualification either. You have to be involuntarily committed by the state or an authority of the state. If you get involuntarily committed, like they put you on a 3-day hold against your will, well, then that is something they report, and that's disqualifying. But just going and seeking treatment, getting a diagnosis, and then getting actual medication and treatment, that's not a disqualifying factor. People on the left would eat them up if they did that. Like when I was practicing, if you had schizophrenia or manic depressive episodes or whatever they want to call it nowadays, I don't report that to anybody. That's not the police's business. However, if I think you are going to harm yourself or harm someone else, if I have valid reasons for that, well, then I can report that, and that can go in front of a judge, and a judge can determine whether or not they agree with my information and whether or not you should be held for 72 hours for evaluation. But other than that, it's not really any of their business. And if you are, if you come to me for a condition and I refer you to someone who can actually prescribe medicine, because I couldn't prescribe medicine, I'm not a psychiatrist, but a psychologist. And you went and got your medication and you're taking your medication, well, then you're no more dangerous than anybody. Now, there are cases where someone in your family will say, I think that person's dangerous, even though they're taking their medication. And there are times if someone did that, I would maybe have to go in front of the judge and give my opinion. And I have had to say, I do believe he is dangerous because I don't believe he is capable of maintaining his schedule for his medications, and he is of a level of volatility that a day or so without meds could be a day or so of tragedy. So he either needs to be put under someone's care that monitors his medication, or he needs to be adjudicated. So. It depends on the person and the circumstance, but yeah, just going and getting treated for something, that's not. It's involuntary commitments that you really got to worry about. Excuse me. Where am I? Or someone in your family deciding that you're a danger to yourself or others and filing a report. That would be bad. Did I read Michael Santersola's? I think I did. Yes, he asked about the steel frame 9mm. And then we got Toby Person. Toby Person, not to be confused with Joe Pearson. This is Toby Person. And he said, oh no, this was him buying those magnets. That's what that was. That wasn't a donation. That was someone buying magnets. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're out of time. I do want to get to the emails first, though. We already got Anomalous Nomads, but I want to do the emails here before we go. Present, share screen, Winder. I've already done my treadmill, so I'm not in as big a hurry. John Heasley sent out a picture here. Nala is the pit. Otis is the Dane. And he says, rough life. Oh, the pitty's so cute. Great Danes always look like they're just having a rough day. It's like, it's hard being me. Pit bulls, I just love pit bulls, especially a nice brindle pit bull. Then I got another one here. This one is from Christopher Jones. Where did it go? I just had it. Hold on. Here it is. Boom. This is one where he was saying ugly, and I don't think it's ugly. It says, my ugly escort. I hope you don't mind if I share some of the guns I've inherited. Here is a gun I think Gary would have gotten along with famously, the ugly ass Smith & Wesson Escort. This is the 3 variant manufacturer of the -3. Manufactured 1971 with a forged aluminum frame. Note the low bore axis to absorb the fierce recoil of the 22 long rifle. She's not a 10, but check out that ass. Yeah, she does got a big butt. But I don't think these are ugly at all. I think these are cool. I think these are very cool. Yeah, they're very unique. They kind of come across like, like the aliens and stuff guns nowadays. So I think these are very cool. I don't think there's anything bad about them. And you can always, if it's not a 10, you want it to be a 10, refinish it. You can have, if you don't want to Cerakote the aluminum part, take it, have it anodized. It's not that expensive. Then you can even Cerakote the top part. The grips look like they're in good shape. I don't see anything wrong. I don't see any chips around the edges or anything. At least not in these pictures. They look like they're in good shape. Looks like it just needs to be disassembled and cleaned. I don't even see any dings or scratches on the metal. See a lot of fill in the crevices, but I think if you just took it apart and cleaned it, it might be a 9. But that looks like that's it for us today. I think I got all the questions answered. Not the ones in the live chat. We actually didn't get to the live chat today for once. Last couple of days we got to it and ran out. But I do believe that is it for us tonight. Let me get rid of that picture there. Let me make sure we're caught up over here. Boop. Make sure we're caught up over here. Yep, that was the last one. But so I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, especially those who participated in the double super secret Pico giveaway. I wish I could pick it up and show it. It's right here. It's sitting. I got it in my hands, but I can't. Wait, I'm going to be evil. Watch this. There. See, it's hammer fired. You can see the hammer. But thanks everybody for everything you do for the channel. I appreciate it. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until then, well, first, before I say goodbye though, remember we're going to be doing the no FUD zone. If you want to be a part of that, let me know. We've had a few people be a part so far. Went pretty good for our first time. If you're not going to be a part of the roundtable, think of some good questions to have. So we got stuff to talk about. I haven't decided yet if we're going to do it on Wednesdays and Saturdays or Thursdays and Sundays. If I start doing it on Thursdays, that means we don't do the MURCA Guns and Freedom or we could do that every other week, and then every other week it'd be the other one. But I'd get real confused on that, I think. But I don't know if Never Enough Ammo's ever will show up for another chat or not. And I don't know if y'all want just me and G-Webs talking all the time. If you just like watching me and G-Webs bicker, we can do that every week, every other week too. Of course, he can also come to the no FUD zone. So we can do other things. What do y'all think better, Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday? Let me know. Just send me an email or text message, or not text message, because I have to give my phone number. I ain't giving you losers my phone number. I don't even give it. I don't give anybody my phone number. I don't answer my phone. Don't carry it around. Yes, motion detected in the gym. All right, everybody. Like I said, thanks for everything you do. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.